I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero,
a real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary. We will make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become the hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This
2
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
All right, grab your favorite drink and let's nerd out and let's hit record and see what happens. You know, Captain almost died again. Stranger Things Season 4 is out, by the way. Strange New Worlds has been great, and I finally saw Doctor Strange. It's actually a lot of strange things. Huh. I mean, honestly, what's with all these strange names? I mean, like, wait, what? May's almost over? What the?
I just picked up my 92 Accord from your lot, and there is a huge turd in the back seat. I want somebody to come over here, get this turd out my back seat,
That's
clean
not going to
my
happen.
car. What do you mean it's not going to happen?
You can bring the car here and we can take a look at it.
I am. I'm going to bring it back.
Okay,
and you
man.
know what? You sound like a big burly man.
Oh, yeah.
How much you weigh?
I don't make it a habit of going out and taking a dump in the car.
How much do you weigh?
About 400 pounds.
That's your turd. That's your
my turd, huh?
Yes.
That came up from a 400-pound man, huh?
This is a 400-pound man. Either that or a gorilla.
Let's rock it. Hey, welcome to the Real Brian Show.
I think that could have been my turd, Brian. I don't know.
Did you leave a... Dude, I love Wanda Sykes. That's all I got to say is that is a huge turd. I can't get that high.
I'm not 400 pounds or anything close to that, but
That's your
I can
turd.
lay a pretty big turd if I want to. So
Either that or gorilla.
very healthy turds lately, though, Brian. I have to mention that. I have to bring that up on the show. My bowel movements have been extraordinarily healthy lately, and that's because I've been watching what I eat. It's awesome.
I don't think we've ever had a turd discussion here on the Real Brian Show.
We should.
Yeah.
Why
Let's
not?
talk about. So there's a chart apparently that you're supposed to go off of to look at your turds to make sure that they are shaped properly and doing. We just lost half our listeners and our viewers. They're gone.
We might have gained a bunch too. So yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know what else to say. All I know is mine are. I don't even know if mine are healthy or not.
Will you link that chart for me? Because I'd love to see the chart and
Maybe
do some science.
Maybe that should be the thumbnail of that. There's a huge turd, or just a huge turd. Maybe that. I think that's what it's going to be.
Well, strange seems to be in right now.
Strange turds.
Strange turds.
Yeah. You ever had strange turds before?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You know, the strangest turds, since we're talking about turds, the strangest of turds, and everyone agrees with this, by the way, everyone.
Yes.
The weirdest ones are ghost turds, where you take this big turd, and then when you wipe, there's nothing there. It's like, where'd the residue go? Why is there no residue?
Huh.
It's a mystery. It's strange, right?
Well, I was going to say the ones that are strange are black. And that's really scary because those are dangerous. But what I realized is after you eat beets, that happens.
Oh, really? Well, good thing I never eat beets. If I were Russian and I ate a lot of borscht, I might be in trouble.
Yeah. It is interesting because there was one time where I literally freaked out once and I was like, oh, crap. And I was like, wait, we ate a lot of beets and that was the problem. So little did I know. I was like, well, I wasn't dying, kind of like you were almost dead. But you didn't really. You weren't. Where were we last week? That's what I don't even really know what's going on because all I know is that we're here right now. And we weren't here last week. Do you know?
I will never forget last week, Brian, because I survived. I survived COVID-19. I finally got it frustrates COVID-19.
Me. What frustrates me is that the week you got it, we were gaming Monday night. We were having this long discussion about COVID, and you were kind of freaking out about. You're like, I don't want it. I'm trying to stay away from it. Yeah, you were. And you were going off on this whole thing about, by the way, I agree with you. I wasn't like, this isn't a criticism. I was just saying you were really going off about how concerned you were about long COVID and the effects. Funny? And then 3 days later, you told me you got COVID. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was talking to the mad scientist, by the way, if you did not catch the Mad Scientists return on the YouTube channel, we discussed Doctor Strange. See, I'm telling you, Stranger Things, Strange New Worlds, Doctor Strange, Strange Turds. There's something going on here. I don't know what's going on, but it's strange. Viruses. Yeah. So strange, Doctor Strange and the strange multiverse, whatever. The point is, we talked about that on Monday. So go check that one out on the YouTube channel. We reviewed it. Great movie. It was fun to see. But he and I were talking about this gaming, and he was even saying, because he's telling me that, you know, in his residency right now, one of the options he has is to work with another doctor who's researching how to combat and overcome long COVID. Oh, okay. And I said, what are you finding? And he goes, well, all I can tell you is don't get COVID. You don't want long COVID. This is literally the day before you got it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So one is, I'm glad you survived, but tell us about it.
Yeah, so my wife and I both contracted it basically at the exact same time. And it was on our 10th wedding anniversary 2 weeks ago. So that evening, after we were out in public at a big restaurant and all this stuff, we started showing some symptoms. And she was first. And then, you know, we both had a bit of a tickling in the back of our throats. Then the next day, which was Friday, the Friday the 13th, our symptoms started kicking in earnest. And, you know, she tested herself, had a positive home test. I knew that I had whatever she had, so there's no point in testing myself. She went to the hospital where she works, got another positive test, and then she had to take the next two weekends off of work because, of course, the employee health can't have, you know, they can't have MRI techs with COVID. But I only just got my sense of smell and taste back just like yesterday, 2 weeks later. Yeah. And today, by the way, it's actually worse again. It's not, I can still kind of smell and taste, but yesterday it was great. But today is back, I backslid a little bit, but it's just fascinating how long it's lasting. It stomped all over our vaccinations and boosters. It's like we didn't even have them. That's what it felt like. Maybe our sickness would have been worse without it, but who knows? All I know is that we got pretty sick. Nothing dangerous, but it was very debilitating. Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, and again, you know, we don't know, no one knows, but it makes me wonder if you got the Delta variant, because obviously that's been one of the most serious ones. And every single person I've heard that's had probably Omicron or whatever the newest one is, was like, you know, it was a mild 2-day kind of head cold kind of thing, and that was about it. Yeah. But everyone I know that's had Delta was very, very sick, regardless of vaccination status. So I don't know. I mean, you just got to wonder, and then you got to wonder, okay, well then do the vaccines work at all? Or did it prevent you from being like severely ill?
Yeah,
maybe
it could
even
have prevented us.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. We can't know. It was like the worst flu I've ever had, though. It was like a hyper flu. Like when I was like on Sunday, I was so congested. I've never been through that many Kleenex before. Yeah. And I was just leaking out the nose constantly. And when I sneezed, it was the hardest I've ever sneezed. And I mean, just stuff like that. And each day it would switch spots. Like one day it'd be in my throat, and the next day it'd be in my sinuses, and the next day it'd move back to my throat again. The next day it'd move back to my, it's like the virus was trying to find my weak points.
Yeah.
Work
and you
different
had a
parts of my body.
And you had chills and aches.
I had a fever for 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. You had it all.
But I got to say, the biggest thing that came out, the weirdest part about it was the taste and smell thing, because for several days after the main symptoms subsided, after the worst of it went away, it felt, you know, that feeling in your sinuses after you accidentally snort water up your nose, like if you're swimming and you breathe at the wrong time or something, and there's like that stinging inside of your sinuses. And like it's a very unique feeling, at least from my experience, as to having just inhaled water. Okay, that's what it was like for several days. You're talking
pool water, especially because of the chlorine and the burn. Okay,
yeah. So that my sinuses were burning constantly. Every breath I took in, all I could smell was this indescribable burning smell. It didn't smell like burning stuff. It just, again, it's literally indescribable. I don't know what it smells like. But that's all I could smell, and I couldn't taste anything. So I had an epiphany, and this is the most interesting result of my illness. When I lost my sense of taste, I stopped wanting to eat. And I never really got hungry enough to say, well, I have to eat. I just ate a lot less because there was no pleasure in it. You know, my taste receptors weren't working, and so I didn't get anything out of eating anything. So I just skipped whole meals. Yeah. And And I realized that all my life I've been eating for pleasure and never for sustenance. I mean, obviously I'm getting sustenance out of what I eat. We all do. But I've always just been doing it for the pleasure of eating. Because in this society we live in, or at least most of us, we've never known true starvation and hunger and what it's like to be really hungry. Most of us have never had that experience.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we just take it for granted. But, once the pleasure is removed from the equation, the drive to eat goes right out the door for me. And so I lost more weight. Yay. So I lost a few more pounds.
Yeah. You were talking about this before. You said if you ever got COVID and you lost your taste, you'd take advantage of that and just eat whatever was necessary in order to lose weight.
And I almost did that. I didn't I didn't go crazy, but I mean, I didn't, I was always a few hundred calories under my limit every day while I was sick.
Yeah.
So, I don't think this revelation is going to change my lifestyle at all. Now that I realize that, I'm not going to be changing how I approach food. But I will fear COVID even more now because I don't want to lose that again.
Yeah.
And right when we both, my wife and I both put our guard down in public and started going everywhere without a mask and all that stuff, that's when we caught it.
Yeah.
And granted, we started doing Pilates, and you can't. I mean, it's impractical to do Pilates with a mask on. And they do have one of those ion things that blow ions into the air that kills viruses and whatever. If that really works, I don't know. But they do have that so that my studio is, and everyone cleans the equipment after they use it and stuff. So the studio's as clean as I think they can practically make it. But it's COVID. It's a very virulent thing. And so I have this feeling that COVID's here to stay. It's the new flu.
Mm-hmm.
It's like flu plus. It's not going anywhere. If you haven't got it yet, you probably will. Just shore yourself up for that. And I'm going to come out and say I still recommend wearing a mask in any public place you feel comfortable doing it, because even the CDC says that cloth masks don't do much to stop the virus from getting through it and into your face. Yeah. But it's gonna do something. It's gonna help somewhat. Yeah. And my wife wear this. My wife and I wear this modified cloth mask. It's like kind of a half N95, half cloth type of thing, where it's got this filter between the cloth, and so it's a little bit step up from just your basic cloth mask. But even that is probably not 100% efficacious. But I definitely have more peace of mind wearing it, because when people cough and sneeze, or if they're talking and they happen to have it and they don't know they have it, little water particles are going to spray out of their mouth and float around in the air. And even a rudimentary cloth mask is going to stop some of those particles. And it's all about any disease expert's going to tell you it's a lot of it has to do with viral load, and how much virus gets to you can often determine how severe your symptoms are and whether your body fights it off successfully or not. Mm-hmm. So a cloth mask is going to still help with the viral load part, no matter what. I mean, it's just, that's common sense. It's just gonna. Viruses, by the way, everybody, they don't just kind of float around by themselves in the air. They're usually attached to like a little water droplet or something like that. So those water droplets are not like tiny like the virus. They're just very small. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the bigger ones will get stopped by a mask. So I'm sorry. We're going to start wearing masks in grocery stores and stuff like that again, just to mitigate our exposure a little bit. That's all.
Yeah. And I'm starting to feel that too, because I mean, we've let down our guard too. I mean, we've just kind of been like, let's just get together with people, and we're not wearing masks really anymore for the most part either. And it's just kind of like, but then I have this like nagging thing in the back of my mind going like, but should I? No, I mean, whatever. I don't care what anyone says anymore. Really. I don't care if you agree with it or not. Like I don't care what anyone thinks about me anymore. I'm doing it for me and for Sarah and for our health anymore, because nobody cares about anyone else's health. So I feel like, well, I'm just going to protect mine then. And that's what I want to do. Is I don't want to get it after hearing what you went through. Now, granted, I mean, it's interesting because other people said, hey, like I said, it was a 2-day thing that acted like a very, very mild head cold, and I was completely fine, right? So I have heard those scenarios.
Yeah, and they'll happen.
And we've known people who have died. Both of us have. Right. And then, of course, what you went through. And it's just like, I don't really want to go through that. I mean, I hate being sick anyway, regardless. I mean, I hate getting colds. I hate getting flu. I hate all that stuff. So it's just like, but I really, and because I have, a benign heart condition, and I have since I was in 5th grade,
right?
Which could turn, like you said, and this is proven that COVID looks for the weakest part of the body. It could
really?
turn serious, right? So they've been finding that it attacks the weakest, whatever the person's potential weakness issues are. That's what, like, for example, we know a person who is a celiac, and it attacked her body from a celiac perspective, and she's been dealing with a number of problems post-COVID because of that.
Interesting. Okay.
So it does happen, and so it's like, and like I said, what Mad Scientist was telling me, some of the things that they're discovering about the whole long COVID is he's saying it's incredibly scary. And he's like, I really just recommend nobody get it because it's that scary. But they're trying to figure out ways to overcome that. And so, and I'm not here to freak anyone out. It's just that, I mean, after what you went through and stuff, and it's just like, I don't want my benign heart condition to turn serious or life threatening or anything like that too.
Yeah,
so
because you never know.
Exactly. And honestly, I've had so much bad luck with health stuff anyway. I'm just like, I go get a surgery that's supposed to be, 99% successful. And of course, I permanently damaged sciatic nerve. It's just, come on.
I read recent.
I'm with you about wearing masks again, even if it's just for my protection, even if it's not 100%, it's still something.
Yeah, and it's also peace of mind.
Yeah. And I do have actual N95s, and, anytime I'm on a plane or something like that, even if it's not required, I'm wearing the N95 because that will protect me. Yeah. And if I really want to go somewhere where, I don't want any exposure, then an N95 is what I'm going to have to wear. But I've done Pilates with a mask. A cloth mask, and it's harder, but it does work. It can be done, but it's not I couldn't do it on an N95. There's no way.
Yeah. No, I read a recent article by a reputable source. I forget which one it was. That was talking about why long COVID exists, and it's has something to do with the fact that the virus attacks all of the major organs, and even if it only shows up in, like, to me it was like severe head flu symptoms. It was all above my neck basically. But even then it's still somewhat affecting your other organs, just may not be noticeable effect. Well, that's where long COVID comes in, because some people's organs are affected, different organs are affected more than others, and so they have all these wide range of symptoms that result from the virus ravaging your body in some way. So it comes off seeming like a bad cold or flu, but it's actually doing more than that in your body. And that's why people get blood clots, and I don't know if this has been 100% proven yet, but I've seen recent studies where they talk about it being a cardiovascular disease, not a respiratory disease. It just comes off as respiratory. So
it's honestly what we take the fear out of it. What's fascinating to me is it is because it's new and we're learning a lot. They continue to learn new things about it. And so in some ways it is very fascinating because we're learning that it's not a predictable sickness at all. It's doing this in this person, and it's doing this in this person. We just don't know.
Right.
So in one way that's very fascinating, and in another way that's incredibly scary. But once again, I'm not going to preach anything because honestly, I'm to the point where I just don't care what other people do anymore, unless they, negatively affect me or Sarah. Then we're going to have a problem. But other than that, I'm like, do whatever you want. So what I'm just trying to do is say, hey, we're just going to do our part, and I'll be respectful to others because that's what we're called to do, is to unleash our superheroes. So that's my point. But I appreciate your reminder based on your experience. And it's encouraging me to kind of say, I need to be a little more careful again, because like you said, we've let our guard down too, and maybe we shouldn't. But I mean, I still want to live life, and it's been really nice to get out to the theater again. I mean, I can't tell you how good that's felt, and just to be able to experience life again. But at the same time, doesn't mean we need to be foolish or stupid about it either.
Yeah, it's a balance thing, as in all things in life. It's yet another balance thing that we have to deal with. And my advice is to, protect yourself insofar as you're comfortable doing, but also get healthier. The best defense against COVID is a healthier lifestyle.
It's true. It is. I mean, and it's really you're right. That's probably the best defense.
And if you have, existing conditions that, COVID can kill you with, just be extra careful when you go anywhere. I mean, because you're the one that this thing's going to get.
Possibly.
If you're really overweight or have diabetes or are on a lot of medications for stuff, those like my sister-in-law died because she had all sorts of stuff wrong with her ahead of time, and when she got COVID, she dropped from a stroke. And she was only 30 something. She was in early 40s, I think. So she was very young.
Most of the people that we've known have had a number of health problems and have been unhealthy as far as their lifestyle goes, except for one who was the epitome of health and was, never ate sugar, ate really, really healthy, ran all the time,
did all the right things,
and it still got him. So, once again, but that was one of the earlier strains too. So once again, it's unpredictable, but you might as well at least, here's the thing too, have a healthy lifestyle. It protects you from a lot of stuff, not just COVID. I mean, I'm even thinking about what inflammation does to the body is scary. And the last 2 weeks for me have not been healthy. But it was birthday week last week, so
go nuts! It's your birthday.
Yeah, but well, first of all, I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you survived. I'm glad you're on the mend because for the longest time you were at I think the 12th day and it wasn't getting any better, and I was like, this is crazy.
Just yesterday, my mother almost died. She's she's like 70. She's like 69. She had something got twisted in her colon, in her intestines. And it's something that really rarely happens, but she went into the emergency room yesterday with severe abdominal pain. She says she's never had that much abdominal pain before, and she's given birth to 3 kids. Wow. And she said, she was throwing up all over the place and just feeling awful. And they gave her a CAT scan and they found that this was wrong, and they put her in emergency surgery. They fixed it. They took like 18 inches of her colon out, and it was very, very lucky because like the one of the best surgeons in the state happened to be in her town that day. Just pure coincidence. One of the best surgeons in that field in the state just happened to be there that day, and she was able to move her schedule around to operate on my mother. And and she's doing great. She's fine.
Good.
She's in the hospital for about a week, but she survived. And the doctor said that if she had waited 1 hour more,
my gosh,
it might have killed her. She might have gone septic and died. Isn't that crazy? Just out of the blue. No warning.
Yeah.
No warning. She just woke up feeling like crap and then went to the emergency room and ended up getting surgery. So
one of Sarah's parents' friends just died suddenly last week of sepsis. Same thing. Something happened. Same part of it, actually, of the body. Something happened. And it was just it was too late. And it was just fairly instant and all that.
Jeez,
and,
that's so crazy that happens.
Well, I know. And it's funny because I had a friend who was a nurse and she was bringing up sepsis back in the day. And so essentially it's your blood's getting infected. Essentially that's like the easiest way to say it. It's poisoned. Your blood is poisoned. Right.
Right.
So it's a very serious thing. And one thing that I kind of learned from that situation and then a couple of other situations is that the guy didn't complain. So on one hand, that's wonderful. Like he's not a complainer. He's not a whiner. There's too much of that going on right now. But on the other thing is that, I've heard doctors and nurses say that if you ever have an issue, if you're ever feeling something that's not right, don't be silent about it. Like bring it up. You don't have to whine about it. It doesn't make you a weakling or anything like that, but bring it up because it could be serious.
Yeah.
And so I've always done that as a result. I've always been like, well, I don't know. This doesn't feel right. Let's check it out. Usually it turns out to be fine. It's no big deal. And that's good. But what if it wasn't? What if it was serious? And, what if your mom hadn't said anything and an hour later, that was it? So it's one of those just a reminder to don't try to tough it out because it could be, you could be saved maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So it turns out in this case, luckily she could not have toughed it out. It was that painful. So
yeah, I think a lot of times there's those situations that are a little underlying and it's not as like, exactly. I'll get over this. I'll take some ibuprofen and tough it out kind of thing.
Right. Yep. You're absolutely correct. Yep.
I don't know. And then there's a lot of the unexplained kind of things too, but it's a weird thing. So, all I have to say is take your health seriously. Mm-hmm. Don't put it off. Yeah,
it's when you get really sick that comes to roost in your head. I mean, it's like, wow,
man.
So,
well, speaking of health, I talked about this a while ago that Chris told us about his awesome matcha drink, which inspired you to buy matcha and stuff like that.
Matcha.
Yeah, and I said, hey, I made like a kind of a version of it, the first time. Well, I finally see if you can. Oh, I'm not going to turn it and spill it. It's too low. Anyway, it's
is it green?
Yes, it's the matcha drink. Proportions, of course, would vary, that Chris made. So it has the matcha. For me, it's the oat milk, and then it's got the turmeric, the cinnamon, and the ginger in it. And then it's not inulin, but it is a prebiotic powder. So it's like inulin, but it's just it's from something different. So there's
prebiotic. Does that encourage biotic growth in your gut, or what is?
Yeah.
Prebiotic?
So apparently, and again, the science behind this, I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist. So there's the need for, in addition to probiotics, you also need prebiotic fiber, which is in a lot of vegetables and stuff too, but most of us probably don't get enough. So it's like, throw a little prebiotic fiber, helps the probiotics to do what they're supposed to do, and everything's great.
Okay.
So I've got that in there. And then I used a little bit of the powdered monk fruit, which we talked about. And honestly, it's amazing because you don't need much in here, and it's a nice rounded flavor. So it's not bitter or anything like that. So I just wanted to say that I finally, Chris, I made your drink exactly as you do it. Proportions different, but thank you for your recipe. It's exciting, and I'm drinking it. And I've been actually drinking this a little bit more often now, which I love. And then that pu'er tea that I was talking about, a couple weeks ago, dude, the Kir Chai, it literally, it's so good. And then the other one is the pu'er tea. Yeah.
Pu'er. We've been talking about turds today.
Tea. And then there's the palm civets. We should try that coffee, the pooped out coffee from those cats. Should try that. And then there's the other pu'er, which was the more green flavor, just kind of it was more of a green style tea versus this was more of a black style fermented. But I've been enjoying these teas, man.
Green poo now. So.
I'm having a great day. And green matcha, it's good stuff. So, yes, we took the week off last week, and part of that was, of course, with Tony having COVID. I just decided, you know what? I hit burnout, and Captain, you and I talked about this. I've hit burnout actually a few months ago, pretty heavily. Yeah. And I was pretty much told you very likely have some adrenal fatigue. You're pushing yourself too hard. And I have been for too long. This is a lot of work. It's crazy that I don't think a lot of people really take how much goes into this show seriously. I think a lot of people are like, whatever, it's free. Who cares? I'm just going to consume it, But I mean, like, I would say on average, I'm putting in between 40 to 60 hours a week on this, and I don't get paid for any of it. It doesn't support anything. I don't put food on the table with this show, but it's about 40 to 60 hours of my week on average. And it's a lot. I mean, because a lot of it goes into...
you're talking about your reviews and all that other stuff, right? I mean, not just the
back end stuff. So it's like, okay, we're recording the show. I'm constantly trying to live life and find things to talk about for our Friday shows. I'm doing all the editing. I'm learning how to be a video editor. I'm learning how to be a graphic designer so that I can do better thumbnails. And I'm learning SEO and marketing, which I suck at, because I don't know how to do any of that. But it's like, if you want to grow things and you want to get people to listen to the show and see the show, it's just so much that goes into it. So, I mean, I watch hours and hours and hours of videos and read things and study things as well each week. And it's exhausting. I wish, if I could snap my fingers right now and magic would happen, I wish I could just
half the population of the universe would die. No, wait.
No, yeah. Thanos. I wish I could turn on my camera, turn on the microphone, and we could just record shows, and then I would just send it to someone to take care of the back end stuff. Because that's what a lot of creators are able to do. Then I would just create a lot of content and just have fun doing it. And believe me, like that's what nobody else can create the content for me. I mean, you get to join me and anyone else gets to join it, but nobody can do it for me. But anyone can do a far better job at video editing than I can because I suck at it. But it is what it is, So it's like, I'm just trying to, it's a lot. So I kind of was told, you probably have adrenal fatigue. You've been pushing yourself too hard for 6 years, and it is what it is. Honestly, it's been going on longer than that.
Yeah.
I need a break. And I mean, really what I need is a month-long sabbatical, but I can't afford to do that financially. Yeah. So last week I thought, well, you can't really record anything. I didn't have any paid obligations last week at all, which was kind of weird. And not a good thing, but also like, well, I'll take advantage of it. And I'm just going to not, It was so funny. I on Sunday I was like, I'm just going to pull an Office Space and blow the week off, and it felt really good. It was funny, but
unfortunately,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I still ended up having to work a few hours each day for some things that I had to take care of, and that was kind of a bummer. But Thursday was my birthday. I took all of Thursday off, all of Friday off, and all of Saturday and Sunday off, and that was very nice. And some of Monday through Wednesday off, but it wasn't enough, man. I tell you what, but it was nice to kind of refresh. And I mean, I love doing this show, so of course I don't want to stop doing it. That's not the issue. And I'm loving doing our reviews and the product reviews and everything that we're doing. I mean, I wish more than anything that I could just get help somehow. Yeah. But it's not there. So in the meantime, I'll do it all until I drop dead. There you go. I hope I don't. But anyway, what I want to say, though, is thank you, by the way, for putting up with us, because I know I said I'd be doing, an interview every other week, and we'll finally have one coming up this next Monday. It's been 4 weeks in between. It's the best I could do. I couldn't do any faster. So I'm sorry, but thank you for understanding. And, thank you for watching the review videos and the movie and TV show review videos that we've been doing. I mean, we're having a lot of fun doing it. Yeah. Keep in mind, this is one way that you can really help the show out, is that Patreon is there. The Amazon affiliate link is there. So anything you buy on Amazon, just click that link. It's good for, I think, around 24 hours, regardless of what you buy on Amazon.
Nice.
And it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's nothing extra. In fact, and like the Loft Mat review, click that link on the YouTube channel, the video in the description. Click that link because that's an affiliate link too. So again, 10%, dude, that's crazy. 10% of the sale of that goes back to the show, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Loft Mat's taking a hit for that, but that was their way to say thank you for doing a video and, thanks for the show and stuff. And same with like the mouse that I did, the mouse reviews and stuff. So anytime we're doing reviews and anytime there's an Amazon purchase, please consider it. Because like I said, it's nothing extra, but it really does a little bit goes back to the show to kind of help out, keep things going and stuff. Because everything else is out of our pockets, and which again is fine, but not sustainable. So that's all I can ask for is please consider those things. But thank you so much for watching and listening and everything. And last week was fun with the birthday stuff, dude. I got to tell you, it was fun to hang out with my parents and some friends and family. We kind of spread that out over a week. I'll share just one place that we went to, which was fun. And it's a Brazilian restaurant. It is literally the perfect place for a multi-passionate personality because they just keep bringing all these different kind of meats. And I think I probably would have ate around 2 pounds or so of meat that night. It was a lot, but it was just unlimited. They just keep bringing it to you until you basically can't fit anything else in your stomach. But I must have had 20 or so different types of meat. And I was like, it was the greatest thing ever because like I had like about 2 pounds of meat, but they were all different meats and all different types of meat and different seasonings. And I was just like, this was the best experience when it comes to a variety of food I've ever had, because that's the one thing I can't stand about going to a restaurant. I'm like, okay, I could pick 10 of these things right now, but I don't want to eat just one giant meal of one of these things. I want to eat 10 small meals of each of these things. I mean,
like tapas.
Yeah, but give me a sampler. But if you order tapas, it's going to cost you, $100 to get, you know what I mean? So this was the perfect sampler almost. It was beautiful, but it was high quality too. So it's not like going to a buffet when there's no flavor, you're getting like high quality food. So it was quite an experience.
Was it an all you can eat, or were you paying for everything they kept bringing you? Or was it just
no, it's a flat rate, and it's, they have a salad type bar, but they have all kinds of stuff there. So you can go there and, get multiple vegetables and pasta salads and soups. And I mean, way too much food, right? Okay. And then there's the meats where they come in with the meat on a skewer and they're cutting it off and, you're grabbing it with your tongs and putting it on your plate, and it's cool. And they had, like grilled pineapple. It's time for an origin.
As a rule of thumb, I think we should do an origin once a week. I mean,
I agree.
Do you agree? Yeah. So, rule of thumb is our origin this week, by the way. Thanks to Mark the Wraith. Again, I pulled from his list. The best description I got was from sparkfiles.net. Now, if you're from any Western country, you've likely heard the term rule of thumb. Essentially, the idiom refers to estimating a measurable quantity according to a rough and pragmatic rule, not based on exact measurement of scientific evidence. It is often incorrectly stated that the rule of thumb expression dates back to a time in history when a man was allowed, by the way, in England, was allowed to, by law, to beat his wife with a stick no thicker than his thumb.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, misogyny was a big thing up until 20th century or so. Anyway, as far as can be determined, the expression dates back to the 1600s when, during a construction project, accurate measurement tools were not as readily available, and a handy body part would sometimes be used, in this case, the thumb. The thumb was used as a rule of measure. Looking at a male adult's thumb, and a male adult thumb, from the top, it measures about an inch across just below the fingernail.
Oh, wait. So you're saying, across or?
Like right
yeah,
there?
so from the top of the thumb to the bottom of the fingernail is about an inch? Is that what it's saying?
That's what they're saying, yeah. So
Okay.
they're calling an inch, like right up below your thumb's fingernail if you're a man. That's supposed to be approximately an inch. And my thumb it's approximately an inch.
I'm going to have to measure my thumbnail now.
Yeah, I didn't actually put it to a ruler, but I know I work with inches every day, and so I know approximately what an inch is, and it's about right.
Interesting.
So just as King Henry I of England based the original foot measurement on his own foot, I don't know how many of you knew that. That's actually true. Thumbs were used as handy quote unquote measurement tools.
Oh, yay, that's funny.
And then over the years, people have adapted the use of the term to refer to social rules in addition to actual measurements. And I think most of us, when we hear the term rule of thumb, it's mostly relating to social rules. Like, as a rule of thumb, this, or as a rule of thumb, doctor won't see anybody after 4 o'clock, whatever, that kind of thing. Now, rule of thumb is a phrase used extensively in many countries around the world.
So that's interesting to me that it went from an actual measurement to a social thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
It morphed. And the article actually goes into much greater detail as far as, more of the origin story, but it was just way too much. So I basically made a summary of it. And
it is fascinating to me that we just kind of change things and then we use things, and most of us still, I keep saying this, I do not think that means what you think it means, right? You have no idea what the heck it means,
What are you watching, Brian?
Strange New Worlds.
Me too.
Yeah. So I know we're going to do a review on this, but we've been kind of pushing that back because more timely stuff has come out. So for example, if you're watching this episode when this actually airs today, Stranger Things season 4 is out, the first part, and Obi-Wan is out. So we're going to be talking about both of those shows this next week. Again, if you're watching this video or listening to this episode today when it comes out, we're doing those next week. So that being said,
what do you mean by the first part of Stranger Things, by the way? What does that mean?
So half, I don't know if it's the first half or it's the first 7 episodes of season 4 is coming out, and then the second part comes out on July 1st.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing it that way this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Obi-Wan, of course, is a 6-episode run weekly. So we're doing that. Oh, and then Orville season 3 comes out next week, which is just crazy. So we're going to get to Strange New Worlds, this Star Trek Strange New Worlds, by the way, when we can. But let me tell you a little bit about my thoughts on this. Is I am very pleased with the first 3 episodes. That's as much as I've seen so far. Much more Star Trek-y than any of the recent Star Treks, period.
Yes.
Recent Picard, recent, Discovery. I'm enjoying this series. It's very, very good so far. It honestly feels like I'm watching not like a modern day, some of the complaints we've had with Discovery and other things, but a modern, not like what the original Star Trek would have been if it had basically just been filmed today instead of in the 60s, simply because of technology differences and other things like that. It actually kind of feels like that. Yeah. And it's refreshing so far. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the season, but so far it is already far, far better than what I saw with any Discovery episode. Period, hands down. This is like night and day better than Discovery to me, anyway. And then as far as Picard, I think it's different, but I'm liking it more so far than Picard.
Yeah, I like it a lot more than Discovery season 4 or 3.
Yeah,
Discovery season 2 I really liked. So that's kind of it's got a. But guess why? Because this crew was in. Captain Pike was in it.
And Spock and
Spock. So yeah. So I mean, the guy I got to do Spock's really great. Pike's really great. It is. I agree with you 100%. It's super Trekky. It's if you're a hardcore old school Star Trek fan, don't let the newer Star Treks soil you to the franchise. Check this out, and maybe it will bring you back.
I'll say this too, that in the first 3 episodes, they've already done more character development than I think Discovery ever did. Because I actually feel like I know most of the characters so far. Not all of them, because there's only 3 episodes in, but I feel like they've done a better job developing the characters they developed so far than I feel like they really ever did in Discovery. So
yeah,
I'm happy. Well, and maybe it's this. Maybe the characters are a little more relatable too. I don't know. Some of the characters in Discovery, I just they felt 2-dimensional to me. Whereas,
or even stereotypical almost like,
yeah, maybe. But like, Rebecca, I'm going to say it. Ramjin. Yeah. Ramjin. Rebecca Romaine's character number 1 and everything. I mean, I'm already liking her. She's fascinating. There's some depth to her. Of course, we already love Pike. I love what they did with Uhura. And I don't want to go any further. I want to do a review on this, but I love what they did with Uhura in the second episode. It was she's a cadet, by the way, in Strange New World. So it's cool. And the actress is doing a phenomenal job with Uhura so far.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's saying, I was like, yes, they brought Uhura singing. Because, Nichelle Nichols would sing.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that.
And Uhura was actually a singer. And so the fact that they brought that in, and this girl has a beautiful voice when she got going, I was like, yay! It was so cool. So there you go. Top Gun Maverick is out. And I wanted to say this, Captain, that I've heard already from some people that got to see some early screenings of it that it was far better than what they expected. So that's good. Now, I don't know if they liked the whole movie or not, but they were basically saying, okay, yeah, it was worth the hype. It was good. I enjoyed it better than I thought. So good to know. So that's exciting. And then Jurassic Park.
That'll before I just interrupt that'll be the next movie that I risk my exposure to COVID on is Maverick.
Good.
So,
and then Jurassic Park 6 is coming out, which I'm excited about only because they're bringing the whole old cast back. So I'm kind of hoping that because the the older cast agreed to being on it, I'm hoping that they're saying, okay, this one's actually worth doing. It's a good closeout to the whole series, which they're ending it finally, which is good.
Oh, okay. So this is Jurassic Worlds 3, right?
Yeah. So I don't even know what the name of it. I'm just calling it Jurassic Park 6 because it was funny. People were saying, okay, there's been how many now? And I said, there's been 5 and this will be 6. 1 was amazing. I liked 2. It was pretty good.
Bad.
3 was not a good movie, but I personally enjoyed it because of the cheese factor, but it was not a good movie. 4 was fine and 5 was fine. Both of those were, I mean, ironically, I think I've only seen them once each, so I don't even remember them, but I need to go back and watch those. But this one looks interesting. We'll see what happens. And then, oh my gosh, this one I'm so excited about, Captain. The new Clueless movie. It's Clueless 2 Reunion, dude. I'm so excited. Oh,
I never liked the original.
Silverstone. Oh my, I'm kidding. That's not coming out.
Wait, not?
There's no Clueless movie coming out.
Oh, dude, that was.
I know.
Is this April or something?
You were gonna go see it.
No, I was gonna wait for it to come out on streaming.
Alicia.
I was gonna wait.
You know what's funny about Alicia Silverstone is there was a movie on Netflix that I kind of decided to watch, and I'm not sure why. It was one of those moments where you're like, I need something different. And it's called, what was it called? Shoot, I don't remember what it's called now. Senior
I don't trust
Year.
anything you're going to say.
No, this is true. This is a true story. Senior Year, I watched this, has Rebel Wilson in it, which I'm a love-hate relationship with Rebel. Sometimes she's funny and good, and sometimes I'm like, she's the most annoying character in the entire movie.
Well, she is named Rebel.
Yeah, so this one, she was interesting, and it was so funny because like the beginning of the movie, I thought, this is kind of interesting. This is going somewhere. And then it just kind of went, okay. Am I going to finish this? I'll just.
Was Alicia Silverstone in it?
Well, so that's the funny. So I left it on in the back. By the way, I'm not going to recommend Senior Year. It's a pretty dumb movie, actually. At the end, Alicia Silverstone is playing one of the characters that was in the 20 years ago version. She was the person that people looked up to, and then like she shows up at the end as the 20-year older version. And it was funny because it was kind of like there was definitely a nod to Clueless in it. It was a very intentional, because I mean, I haven't seen Alicia Silverstone in like how long? I don't even know. I can't remember the last movie she's been in.
At least 25 years for me. So yeah. Quarter century.
It's been since at least the late 90s or early 2000s since I've seen her in a movie. So yeah, it was interesting because at first there were some rumors going around about how she kind of threw away her life. And I don't know if that was true or not, but she looked fine in this movie. She looked like, just an older version.
Older Alicia. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of, and I was like, is this it's interesting to me because I want to know if this was just part of her character or if this was like hey, it's my character, but this was also my real life.
Oh, okay.
Because it was just funny what she said. It was like something about that feels like that's not just
like
made
it was
up.
based on experience,
like real life. Like this was her life, and this is what happened, and now she's turning herself around. And I don't know. It was a very interesting. We'll see, but I got to look that one up. But
okay,
I just had to bring up, Alicia. But could you imagine a Clueless 2? I would not see it. What I can imagine, however, is Thor: Love and Thunder. So, Captain, are you excited about this?
Oh, I haven't been this excited about a movie since the last few Avengers films. Seriously, when I saw that preview when I went to Doctor Strange, I was speechless for 5 minutes. Really, they're doing this? That's great. I mean, it's got Guardians in it. It's just continuing after Endgame, basically, what they went and did.
Finally.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I like the fact that the Guardians are in it and they're going to kind of combine everything.
Yeah.
Is it just me?
Summer, right?
Yeah, it's coming out in summer. Is it just me, or did the Thor: Love and Thunder writing remind you of the Thundercats from the 80s? The writing from the Thundercats. I mean, it looks exactly like it. Oh, I didn't notice. It was awesome.
But I'm thinking it'll be kind of funny, like Ragnarok was. Ragnarok was different than a lot of the other MCU movies in that it was humorous.
That was good,
more so than even Ant-Man. But I wonder if I feel like just based on the title and a little bit of the preview, it's going to be similar. So it's nice that we have good movies coming out, man. Finally. It is, and we got a lot of cool stuff watching right now. Yeah. So it's more than I can handle easily, to be honest. So as far as TV shows go, my most excited one is Orville season 3. Like I have been waiting for that for years. I love that show. I can't wait. Stranger Things. I mean, I've always been I didn't like it at first, but I enjoyed that show. Those kids in Stranger Things, surely they've got. I mean, are their characters going to be parents now? Because I mean, so I looked them up, and it is funny because most of the kids are. I think 11 is either 17 or 18, but most of the kids are 20. One of the guys is 30. So and he's. Wow. I don't know what they're going to do. Because they went from like kids to are in high school now. Yeah. As long as they do whatever they're going to do gracefully and do it like a few years later, so make it don't try to make them seem younger than they are. That's just a mistake when people try and do that. So in honor of Obi-Wan, I've been going back and rewatching the Oral Knots versions of Star Wars, which is. Man, that's a treat. What's funny is I don't think I've ever seen them all because I realized that I've watched episodes 1 and 2 really nicely. Jedi Party was from the Phantom Menace, and Attack of the Clones was Friend Zone or whatever it was. So I finished. I don't think I ever watched 3 all the way through, and I'd never seen 4. So I watched. I'm watching 4. I haven't seen. They get longer and longer, and so then eventually it becomes like a commitment. But dude, it's funny because that's why I think their views went down, but they only did, so they've done episodes 1 through 7 and they have not done The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker yet, which I wish they would do because those are kind of more fun to make fun of, but they deserve to be made fun of big time. Yeah. So C-3PO as Creepio is one of my favorite characters. Yes. I'm still waiting for Mystery Science Theater 3000 to somehow be able to do those movies somehow. Yeah. That'd be so good. He will wear his face. He has so much skin.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
As a rule of thumb, I don't trust Dutch people named after their great-grandfather. You know what the music means. Yeah. I got to tell you, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've not already. And again, don't forget, we've got all kinds of other videos coming out, product reviews that, things I use and I have to talk about them. And of course, our TV and movie show reviews. So much. I'm going to do new music next week, by the way. But thank you for joining us. Have a great week. The Real Brian Show is signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.